few minutes as we introduce ourselves online. If I could ask everyone to make sure you mute your microphones, and if your camera is on, if you could turn it off, or sort of to save bandwidth and let this go out to many other folks, but we'll get started in about a minute or two. Okay, hi everyone. It looks like we're having less problems than we did this morning with connections. Maybe the time of day helps with that, but hopefully everybody is able to log on and join us. I'm Chris Powers, Executive Director at TESOL, and want to thank you for joining us at our town hall. This is our second one that we have scheduled for this week. We did one this morning, and we're going to do one again tomorrow. So if you like it a lot, or if you miss anything, or just want to come back and do it again, you're welcome to join us again tomorrow. I want to thank the staff for all their work in the last couple of weeks, and for helping to get this set up and scheduled and process a lot of other things at the same time. And we're going to talk about some of the work that they're doing. I want to thank the board, who has been more engaged and working on these challenging issues as much as they could over the last couple of weeks as well. And most, if not all, of the board members are with us today, including newly elected board members as well. I'd like to start by introducing Deborah Healy, Deborah Short, and if Lou, I didn't see if Lou was on or not, but if all three of our executive committee, our president-elect and past president, are on and can say hello, I'd like to welcome them to do so.
Well, hello everybody, this is Deborah Healy. I am so happy that you can all join us. We got a lot of wonderful questions in the session this morning, and I'm sure that we'll get more really good questions and ideas to use as we move forward with our virtual conference and other decision making.
And this is Deborah Short. I'm also grateful that you're taking time out of your day to help us think through the best ways to move the association forward, to meet our mission, to find ways to share the knowledge that we have and meet our own professional development needs as well as the needs of others. Thank you for listening, for participating, for asking questions, and just being part of our TESOL community.
Hi everyone, I'm Luciana de Oliveira. I'm the past president, and just wanted to welcome everybody to this town hall, and hoping that we're going to have a great discussion today.
So thank you, Deborah, Deborah and Lou, and thank you again to everybody who's joined us and all the board members who are on. If this is like this morning, I know board members were sharing their own questions and actually answering a lot of questions in the chat too. But we welcome you to ask questions in the chat box. We'll try to get to as many as we can. What we'd like to do is update you on what we've been doing, give you, answer some questions that you might have, and get feedback from you, get information from you about what you would like to see us do to sort of meet our mission in this new environment, and what you might need in this situation and how we can work together. So just to give you, I mean, the obvious information is, of course, we had to cancel the convention It was a very difficult decision at the time. I think if we were making the decision today, it'd be a lot easier. We're in a different place. We're moving, the whole world is moving so quickly. But since that time, we are working to, the most important thing we had to do was get messaging out to all of our members and our participants and everyone, and let them know what we were planning to do. We were also had to work with our registration company to set up a scheme to, a plan to refund or to accept donations. And we've got that set up, and a message will be going out, I believe, as early as tomorrow. They're going to be sort of staged by the registration company because they've got other clients like us who are in the same situation. So we'll be sending those messages out that will give you information on if you want to donate your registration fee. We would absolutely welcome this. This has been a very large financial hit to TESOL, but we recognize that that's not possible for everybody, and certainly perhaps institutions. So we would be more than willing to refund the registration in its entirety, or part of it if that's what you'd like to do, or if you wanted to defer it until next year, we could do that too. So the message will give you all those options, and hopefully it'll be painless and you could work through that. We're also collecting and sharing resources. Some of you might have seen already on the TESOL homepage or on the My TESOL page. We've started a community to gather resources to help in multilingual settings, schools and communities that are dealing with this this pandemic. So we want to crowdsource this as best we can. So encourage folks to join that community and share resources that they have. That's a free community in the My TESOL space. It is open to members or non-members as long as you can log in and be part of that community. We're also using the English language bulletin, which we send out twice a week to many more folks than just our members. And we're going to be focusing on news that affects COVID-19 and the education community. So we'll share, and we'll be able to use that to share resources as well. Deborah, do you want to say anything else about how we some of our initial thoughts before we sort of start getting into answering questions? And
yeah, I think that the thing with refunds is we're trying to be as flexible as we can be. We do encourage you to donate, but we certainly understand that this is a hard time for everyone. And so we want to give you as many options as we can, including just a full refund, because that may be the best thing for you right now. The other thing is we are planning a virtual convention. The conference's professional council is working like mad. Lisa Dyson, our conference's director, who just is a star in the area, is working on that. But it's really complicated. So, I think that we will get information out to you just as soon as we can. We don't know yet what the platform will be. We aren't entirely sure yet what will be, if we're going to have live streaming or just things that are uploaded. This is all in the, we need your help to make some of these decisions. That's why we would really like to hear from you about the things that will work for you, because we know that people have very different reasons for coming to the conference. You may come because you absolutely have to have this presentation on your resume. You may come because you love the networking. You may come because you've got a specific question you'd like to have answered, and so on and so on. And so we're trying to keep all of these needs and desires in mind as we try to build this brand new thing for TESOL, a full-bore virtual conference. We've done one-day things in the past, but we haven't tried to put whatever it is, 900 presentations into a conference before. So we don't know yet whether it'll be a member benefit or anybody benefit. It's all in that. We're trying to figure all of these things out. We've also had a lot of questions from people about presenting next year, still in the we're trying to figure it out category, because again, we've got a lot of different needs, a lot of different preferences. And so I think we have a lot of, that's why you're here. We hope to help us get some ideas and be able to move forward with this. We're certainly looking at recordings in the Teacher Resource Center. We're looking at a whole lot of things going into the TESOL Resource Center. And so I think that we do have expertise in this area that we are tapping into. One of the things, a very good question from Nikki, is about how much of the registration fee donation goes to TESOL and how much stays with the registration company. Chris, can you speak to that? Do we know that answer?
Yeah, yes, I can. 100% of your donation to TESOL will be to TESOL. There would be no fee to the registration company for that. There was another question about finances there, asking, could we charge for the virtual seminar or virtual conference to make up some of what we would be losing? And certainly we can. These are, I think, really important and key questions. Equity and sharing knowledge and advancing our mission, I think, are one of the most important things. Those are our values and the reason why we exist. We don't exist to make money, but we don't want to go out of business by losing a lot of money at the same time. So certainly we'll look at different scenarios, including anything from low amounts to perhaps for member benefits, perhaps just different scenarios that make the best sense. And we'll be discussing that with the CPC, with the board and others, and make a decision on that as soon as we can. I think we want to share our message with the world. We want to share your message with the world, with the TESOL world as best we can. We know these are unusual times, and we just want to figure out what the best way to get that done is. I'd also like to, you mentioned Lisa and the CPC. I saw that Mary Peacock had joined us again, and thank you, Mary, for joining us this morning and back again. I'm not sure we need to call on you yet, but I'm glad we have you in the audience in case we have some questions, or maybe after we answer some questions, then you could weigh in as well, because we know you guys are working hard. And you know, my hat's off to all of you guys and to the volunteers in Denver, because you were, like the staff, were running 100 miles an hour in one direction to put on a conference next week, an incredible event. It was going to be incredible. And then we had to stop, as heartbreaking as that was. And now we're turning around in the other direction, and we're going to work to put on a great virtual event. So thank you.
Yeah, let me mention we get so accustomed to acronyms in our field, right? So apologies. The CPC is the Conferences Professional Council. It is the group of volunteers that works with Lisa, our director of conferences, to try to organize everything that we do in a conference line. And so we do have regular calls for volunteers for all of our professional councils. Please keep your eyes open. We love to have volunteers coming in to help us. But we've got a great crew right now in the Conferences Professional Council, and so hats off to them. And again, the Denver folks who are just really did put enormous time, a year's worth of effort into this. And I'm just so sorry that we can't do it. So I think that we are looking at how people in professional councils and interest sections might also hold some of their events. That should be something that you will be getting an email about scheduling them if you haven't gotten it already. So, so that there will be something coming. I think there was a form that came out for interest section leaders and a question about what you want to do for professional council, so that the PC, the professional council leadership, should think what time, what you want to do, and work with your board liaison and your staff partner to plan those events. I think the idea of having things packaged as courses is a great idea. I think it's a wonderful idea. Some of the other wonderful ideas that we got during this morning session were maybe a special issue of the of TESOL journal or some publication, and so that, I mean, I think we're looking at everything as possibilities. And Lisa Dyson has just posted that we are looking for strand coordinators for 2021 and 2022, and you can email conventions@tesol.org to do that. If you have a question about your staff partner, you can email any of us at TESOL and we can let you know. You'll see some emails at the end. So, oh, and Kathy Lobo is mentioning the awards. We are figuring out ways to celebrate the awards. So, so these are all things, and your suggestions are very much desired. So I think that's all of the stuff that I had on my sheet to mention. Chris, anything else, or we open it up for questions?
Yeah, I think the questions have started. Thank you for asking that. Thank you, Lisa, for posting the strand coordinators. I think one of the questions that I saw pop up earlier was about how important it was for the IS sessions and intersections and so forth, and whether or not those would be included in the virtual conference. And that's certainly among the many things that the CPC is looking at. And sort of the first thing that we've done is reach out to presenters to see if they're available and can present and willing to do so. And then they're talking about how conducive are certain sessions to a virtual event. And we'll work through that and really obviously want to take the advice of our volunteer leaders in the conference's professional council on this, but also, like we've said, do it in a way that's as flexible and as equitable as it can be to everyone. So we know it's a big challenge and a big disruption for everyone, but we want to work through a lot of that.
Yeah, I think Nikki, even the little people, we are definitely trying to make sure that everybody has an opportunity to present in some way or another. I was looking at what the American Educational Research Association, AERA, is doing, and they have a massive conference where people need to present in order to get a tenure track job at an American College of Education, basically. So one of the approaches that they are taking is having people upload an annotated PowerPoint, and they get a convention certificate, a presentation certificate for even that. We do not yet have anything ready to go to people about presenting online, so it's coming. It's coming. But we have been working frantically to try to get this going. I don't think we know yet about having it around the same time as the face-to-face conference. My guess is that it's going to be hard to get everything in place in a week. Over a week.
No, I think we can confidently say it will not be when the convention was originally scheduled. We want to make sure we do this right and do it well. The TESOL convention is an important event, and the presentations that the time that you put into it as presenters, and the work you put into it, and that all our leaders put into it is so important. We do not want to shortchange that. So we absolutely want to make sure that we do it right with the right platform and the right thought about the sessions that are included. We want to make sure that we have opportunities for all the kind of connectivity, just in a different way. The networking, the small groups, if we can, sessions, exhibitors. We want to certainly make sure that we include the keynotes, and then the opportunities for the celebrations as well. So we're going to work really hard. We want to do it as soon as possible, but in a way that is responsible and meets the expectations that I think you rightly have for a TESOL convention.
Yeah, and I do think I would not expect everything to fall into place by the time the face-to-face convention would have been scheduled. But we will try to get it done, to get things started at least. There was another suggestion by Kathy Lobo this morning about spreading out the conference over an extended period of time. So we are thinking in many different ways. I think, though, that when we looked at postponing, because of the level of uncertainty now, we pretty much said we are better off, I think, trying to move into a virtual realm than trying to guess what might be happening in 3 to 5 months. And we do want to have people who will help our first-time online presenters or people who have not done online conference presentations. We have tremendous resources in the call interest section and elsewhere within the association that we are going to follow up on. That's a really good question, Janet, whether we'll be sending out letters to accepted presenters saying they were accepted but prohibited from face-to-face presenting due to COVID-19. That's something that will go on our list of things to, if not do, to seriously consider doing, because I think that's a really good idea. Yeah, we are all hoping that it'll get better.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely the case. But I think what's really valuable and important is this is doing more virtually. Doing virtual conferences is something that's been on TESOL's list for some time. Some of you might be familiar, if you were in leadership, that we had or you might have participated in the task force on the conferences of the future. And one of the recommendations was to do more hybrid events or more virtual events. Like many things that we might have wanted to do, but not wanted to do all at once or so quickly, this has suddenly become not just a possibility, but a necessity. So if we can look to the bright side once we get through this, and somebody sent me a great quote that said, all rainstorms must end at some point. So this too will pass and we will come out on the other side, and we will we'll have opportunities to engage in new ways and just strengthen our community. And that's our real goal here.
Yeah, and Deborah Short is pointing out that one of the people this morning talked about putting the presentation on the CV with a note that it was accepted but convention canceled due to COVID-19. I think that is one approach, but I think that it's quite reasonable to think about getting something that acknowledges the presentation was accepted and could not be presented face-to-face. So we will be looking at, this whole range of ideas. So other comments, other questions, other thoughts? Let's see if I missed something back here.
I see some of the questions here about presenting at next year's conference. I know that, or convention, I know that is something being discussed among the conference's professional council about the most equitable way to do that. Because we still have, we have another group of people, we might have people who might not be able to attend next year who were able to attend this year, and want to make sure that we're fair and equitable, again, flexible as well, and doing it in a way that's logistically possible as well.
My guess is that this is going to be crazy enough to schedule all of the current presenters without opening up the virtual conference to new presenters. So I think that one is a no.
Yeah.
Because it's just going to be too crazy as it is. And I think the reality, when we're not together in one physical place, we have to take time zone into account. Yeah. This is something in the board meetings that are coming up. We realize we've got people stretching from Europe to New Zealand. And so it really makes interesting to try to arrange a time. And so I think this is definitely part of the calculation. The question about the IS leadership call, a call for new IS leaders or a call for the meetings think there will be information going out about meetings. Chris, do you know something about, or does somebody on here know when we're going to do IS leadership calls?
I'm gonna defer to staff on that if someone can answer that. But was the question about that, or about the call for, sorry, the leadership meeting that we have? Would there be a telephone call, or that's how I took the question.
Okay.
And a town hall just and yes, we are planning that. We are planning that either we may be able to do that on the time period that was originally scheduled, or I think that's our current thinking, but we might, we could also include that as part of the virtual meeting, or we could do it both. Certainly communicating with our leaders is really important to us, so we want that's a priority for us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we definitely are planning to do some sort of leadership forum, and Heidi is pointing out that IS leaders have been asked to set up a time for each of their meetings. So I believe there was a form that you should have gotten, and if not, you can write to one of the emails that you'll see in a minute, or to Heidi if you have her, if you happen to have her email, since she has piped up on this one. We're gonna put her on it. Yeah, but, okay, the one we all have together, the leadership forum. We are still planning to do a leadership forum, the TBA on TBD. Well, we don't know exactly when yet, but it is in the plan. It is in the plan. So our next convention 2021 is Houston, March 23rd to 26th. Somebody was asking that, so that's
thank you.
The next date. Yeah, yeah, we do know that IATEFL just accepted everybody for next year. AERA, a much larger conference than both IATEFL and ours, absolutely said no, because it would be unfair to anybody new to be unable to present. So I think it's, it's not off the table, but it has to be done so that it's fair to people each year.
Right, and there are a number of different challenges. Anybody from the conference's professional council would know that our venues are not exactly the same. We don't always have the same number of rooms or the same size rooms and so forth. It's a minor miracle every year when that gets scheduled, and hats off to Lisa and her team and everyone else who does that. But those are things we do want to think about, and obviously the conference's professional council is wrestling with those, again, trying to be fair, equitable, and do the right thing. And things that might be, we might have to have so many new topics that need to be addressed next year too. So we don't want to shut out that possibility either.
But again, different people, different needs. It's something that the conference's professional council, leadership, and the board are all taking into consideration, because we have a lot of different people involved with a lot of different needs.
I saw an earlier question about whether or not we'd have recordings or on demand and so forth, and that's definitely something we're looking at, and we expect that we'll be able to have some of the sessions will be live and perhaps not recorded, others will be recorded, and just like anything else, some recordings and some sessions would be better than others and would lend themselves better to that format. Certainly we expect some of the, some of the keynotes would be really good for that, and we want to be able to use them in that way. Others might not, and some we might have pre-recorded. So again, we want to be as flexible as we can and see what's going to work out the best.
Okay. Yeah, and I think the thing about postponing is that some people will not want to present a different year, may not be able to present. We are looking at the awards with this very much in mind, the people who received travel awards, and so that's it is something that we are very aware of and considering. I think poster sessions are something that are certainly being considered. In some ways, poster sessions would be easier to package and add to the Teacher Resource Center or some other way. And I think that, you know, those would be good for us to try to do.
Yeah, I would, I think this might be a good time to ask maybe Mary to jump in, as we were talking about all these different types of ideas of how we might do something or might not, and how complicated it is. And I know you've been talking to Lisa and your council about that. So Mary, would you mind sharing a little bit?
Yes, so we are talking about all of these. We are waiting for some decisions to be made in terms of the platform that'll be used, because that, you know, may open up some options or restrict some options. We also talked about moving everybody to Houston, but for a number of reasons, it's not really possible. Some people may want to present this year. We know that some people have written to TESOL expressing an interest in, you know, being part of the virtual conference. And, you know, other people may not want to present virtually, but want to wait. So then we have issues, as you mentioned, with space. And so all of those things are still up in the air. That's kind of why I'm here to listen and see what ideas we can come up with. One of our main concerns, of course, is to recognize everybody who was accepted, and we know how much effort people put into, you know, preparing their presentations. So we're going to do our best to accommodate everyone. I can't say that it'll be 100%, but we're looking at all the options, and I'm sorry that I don't have anything more definite to say. We're just in the starting, you know, phase of seeing what we can do.
Thank you for sharing, Mary.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Mary. I mean, the amount of work that the Conference Professional Council and Lisa Dyson are putting into this is phenomenal. So, you know, we stand in awe of your effort. I mean, one comment here that I think is an interesting one is, if people are allowed to present next year with this year's proposal, maybe they can't put in any other proposals. So I think that's an interesting it's an interesting thought, and we'll put it into the hopper, definitely. So is there an online copy of the original program to peruse speakers and topics? There is an app as well, as I think the online copy, is that on, did that go on online, Chris?
Lisa, can you answer if that's online? Certainly the app, all the information is available on the mobile app.
Right. So I never did actually get the low-res version of the actual program book from the designer. I'll follow up with that. Once I get it, I can certainly get it online. It's something we typically get as we're kind of walking out the door to go to the convention. But I'll follow up with them to see if we can get that up.
Thank you, Lisa.
Mm-hmm.
But I should also add, feel free, use the mobile app now. It's available, and some people have already uploaded presentations and resources there. So there is information you can get there. You have access to the exhibitors and so forth. So and I hope, this might be a little premature too, but I would hope we perhaps could use the app to support the virtual event, but we'll have to see how everything works together. I guess two technologies together might negate each other, and we'd be back to face-to-face.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I think having people upload PowerPoints, PDFs, etc., to the app would be a really nice way to go in any event, no matter what we do, because that way you would have it available to other people if you wished.
Yeah. I think I'm seeing a lot of points and counterpoints going back and forth about whether or not it would be fair and how to equitably do it if we allowed those who were accepted this year to be accepted next year. Maybe they don't put another session in. Certainly, we're going to capture all of this. This is going to be recorded. It's going to be shared widely, but we'll especially capture those comments and share that with the conference's professional council as they consider these items and think through.
Yeah, and yeah, as in answer to the questions, we're getting some responses for about what can be uploaded to the app. Thank you, Grazia, that PDFs, PowerPoints can be uploaded, and Kathy Lobo, as the board liaison to Awards Professional Council, is taking note of your questions, and she'll make sure that there will be a response. There hasn't been a decision. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. I was going to say I might have missed the question about awards, but and if you want to ask it again, I think please feel free. But there are a couple of different things that I think is really important. We want to make sure that anyone that we've given awards to, that we respect and support any out-of-pocket costs that they have. If we haven't done that, obviously, you know, if it was a travel award and they hadn't traveled and didn't incur any expenses, then, you know, that might be able to be used in the future or, you know, applied to next year, and we'll work with each individual awardee for that. But I think the other thing that's really important is these aren't just monetary awards, they're awards of recognition, and we want to make sure that we recognize our awardees and celebrate their contributions. So we're going to make sure that we do that through this process.
Yeah, Heidi points out that we might be using GoToMeeting with IS meetings, but nothing is decided yet. That's another one of those to be decided items. We are looking at many different platforms, and some are, every platform has its pluses and minuses, I have to say, as someone who's used a bunch of them. So we are actively thinking about this.
Were there other questions or comments that anyone wants to share, or feedback?
Well, I think Justin's mentioning that even if people were deferred to the next year, they probably would want to update their presentation so that they weren't completely, so that they fix whatever has changed. I don't think we would smile upon somebody submitting a completely different presentation using that slot, but you know, everything's on the table. Everything's out there on the table right now. Any other suggestions, comments? Your suggestions here are so useful. We really appreciate your coming and helping us work through this.
I would second that. I really appreciate it. It was a wonderful community this morning and this evening. I thank you for reaching out and for sharing your information. I think that I would comment on Nikki's message about TESOL being all year long and spreading things out. That's certainly one consideration, and I think we're looking at the best way to do that and best way to package the material. There's value in different ways of doing that, and I think that's also why we think about perhaps on demand. Some things might be on demand and some other things might be live. So a lot of things to really consider. But this is a real challenge for us, and I think it's a real opportunity for us to come together. Like I was saying about the spirit of this community has been fantastic. I said earlier today that the board is, and we have been talking for a while about a culture of we in TESOL, and that recognizes that we do come from different backgrounds and different contexts and often different countries and different language backgrounds and so forth. And we celebrate those differences, but then we come together with what unites us. And here, especially when we're divided by space, by social distancing, to find an opportunity virtually to come together, I think is so important and build the we in TESOL. And you know, again, I just want to thank everybody for being part of that, for sharing your information and ideas with us, and helping us move forward with into this this new environment we're in.
I think the question came up about deadlines for IS year plans. I cannot imagine people holding an absolutely rigid line on any deadline right now. There will be deadlines for things, but I fully expect to see some, some questions going out to our IS and our intersection, other leaders about timing, because it's not just TESOL that's been messed up. It's, all of the people who are working online now, who are doing, all of these things, or who don't have a job right now as a result of what's going on. I think, we've got to keep all that in mind. And as Chris says, we want to have community here that helps us do better, helps us feel like we're part of something, and that's really what we want coming out of this.
And if I may just add something, I added to the chat box, but earlier there were some questions about the IS sessions that are not adjudicated, making sure that they are included in the virtual quote unquote conference or sessions. So maybe we can address that.
I think Heidi was posting about that before, that we do have resources out there. Heidi, did you want to chime in here again?
No, this is not about the resources. This is about the conferences, the IS sessions that are not adjudicated for the convention, and what, making sure that they are included in the virtual sessions or conferences.
Right, Mary, do you want to address that question, Mary? Is Mary Peacock still with us?
She may not be, Chris. This is Lisa. I'm happy to jump in there. I think it's perfectly reasonable to make sure that our intersection academic and intersection sessions are included in whatever virtual conference we do. So I will say yes to that. Now, bear with us as we work through what that's going to look like, but I will make that commitment to my ISs. Yes, we will be doing that for you.
Thank you, Lisa. I was ready to do that, but I didn't want to do that without your support and Mary's.
Yeah, I think the PLNs, the professional learning networks, are another opportunity for us, because they often don't have much visibility on the conference, at the face-to-face conference, and it could be a really good way for us to find a way to showcase the PLNs in ways that we haven't really done before. So I think it's an opportunity to be thinking about.
So I want to answer a question that Margie asked, and that was earlier in the chat, or not that much earlier, but is TESOL offering any support to members for quick, and then the chat jumped again on me, getting ready to get in front of a camera and do online teaching instead of face-to-face teaching? And first, I'd like to call out the Call IS webinar that I think is this weekend. And if somebody has the details of that and can put it into the chat box, that would be great. But there's a webinar this weekend that I think would be terrific for, and that is the quick right now. TESOL also has a certificate course on online learning, and that's planned for later this summer, and it's something we could offer more sessions for if there is demand and interest. Heidi, do you want to, if you could put something on that too, that might be something we can share. And then in addition, the resources on the resource library from the TESOL homepage and from the My TESOL page include sort of two sections, one on resources for dealing with COVID-19 and helping kids and adults and everybody else in different language backgrounds deal with these issues, and then another one on online learning and trying to sort of switch our focus. So those are some of the ways that we're trying to do that.
And we do anticipate having help for people who are interested in presenting online. So, but it's something to, that we are planning to do, to offer help. And we're seeing a couple other really good lists of resources going into the chat. So, so thank you for those.
Gracia, thank you for weighing in. And Gracia Mendoza is our liaison to the conference's professional council, and should thank Gracia for her work and with the council as well on this.
Yes.
And thank you for sharing the websites, Heidi and others, and Margie. I think your question to Lou, will the chats be available soon? Yes, we're trying to, send them out as soon as we can and get them out and share it widely. We're going to make recordings of these, or we are making recordings of these as well, if anybody cares to watch again. But partly we're trying to do multiple things here. Answer questions, many of which is obvious we don't have the answers to yet, but we're also taking feedback from you, and that's, I think, really important. And then I think what we're also seeing is you guys are sharing ideas and resources with each other, which is probably the most important reason to share the chat with everyone.
Yeah, I think we have committed to saving the chats and sharing them from all 3 of these sessions. So working on that and getting that out too soon.
And there's the title of the Call IS webinar, Chalk and Talk to Skype versus Skype and Swipe. It's a great title.
Yeah. Are there any other questions? Oh yeah, Heidi suggests please sharing resources to be posted in the COVID-19 library. You can email it to learn@tesol.org. I mean, again, this has been an opportunity for us to find new ways to provide resources and for all of the members to share resources with each other.
Yes, many thanks to all of you. We have to work together to meet these challenges, and it's about sharing our information. It's about sharing our knowledge and expertise. It's about connecting. The phrase we always used with the TESOL Convention, it was where the world comes together. And somebody asked a prescient question last year: what if it's not where the world can come together? And so that's why we have to find different ways and better ways to do it. And I appreciate all of the ideas, the energy, the enthusiasm. I haven't seen the staff work this well and hard, and they're so committed to meeting this challenge and meeting the needs of our members and our attendees and everybody else. And just the energy of the volunteers and the leaders of TESOL. We're a wonderful, vibrant, and resilient community, and I so much appreciate all the goodwill and support that everyone's providing.
And please do tell your colleagues that the COVID-19 resources community is open to anyone. You need to sign up for a free login, and then it's available to anyone. So it's so important for all of us now. And Beth is also posting another webinar. So very good.
Well, I think there'll be other opportunities, and we'd be happy to share all of these with everyone, and probably offer additional opportunities as we can. And TESOL offering online coaching to its members. Other affiliates could do that. We've been talking about doing that. Many people know we've started a membership professional council, and one of their key goals was going to be working on a mentoring program. And I can't think of anything better and more important to mentor on right now than online teaching and coaching. And we know that a lot of folks on the earlier session had indicated an interest in doing that, and many of them interested in volunteering, and I know many of you guys as well. So I think we're going to use that opportunity, and hopefully many of you can be part of that. Oh, and Nikki, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, Nikki is pointing out you can apply now to join the new Membership Professional Council. The deadline is April 10th. So you have time to be part of this new council that's looking at ways to really bring in, make our new members and our existing members feel the same connection to our community that I think everybody on this chat is feeling. We want to spread this, spread the community sense.
Yes, thank you, Nikki, for that. We'd love to bring those folks together. If you guys have questions that are ongoing, please feel free to reach out to any of us. Even if we don't have the answers yet, we're determined to find them for you and to hear your feedback and the issues that you're dealing with. And again, just really want to be able to support you guys, everybody and your colleagues where they are in their professional lives now. And we know that's a different place than it was last week, than it was a month ago, and we want to just try to keep up. And we need you guys to be part of that too. So it's something we're definitely all in together.
I mean, TESOL is a membership association. We are what we are because of the members and because of our volunteer leaders, because of everybody here that's part of this community. And,
right.
And so you make it of value to everyone by your participation in the community. I just regret, because we were going to have the Mile High Five in Denver, yes. Where it would be non-touching high five.
Yep.
I loved that name, but we'll just have to all do virtual Mile High Fives and virtual yes. elbow bumps and all of that in our online meetings.
Well, now that was when we thought we had to be 3 feet apart. Now we do have to be a mile apart, it seems like. But thank you. I appreciate, Deborah Short, your message, TESOL Strong. The other message that came through for a hashtag in the earlier session was
love TESOL.
Hashtag love TESOL.
Yeah.
So we've started using that on social media.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, George Cornfuss came up with that one. So yeah, just a cool little thing.
Yes. But yeah, anyone who stayed with us tonight, or if it's morning for you, or whatever the time might be, and the board and the staff who've come back multiple times, and Mary and others who've come back a second time, you're showing your TESOL love, you're showing your TESOL strong and our resilience. So we appreciate that.
Thanks, Margie. We know you know what being a conference chair is like. Yeoman service. Yeah.
Hope you're doing well in California, Margie.
Hunkering in place. Well, thank you everyone for being here, for spending the time. We will be saving the chat, and trying to get it out to everyone. But sorry, Mark.
We might edit that part out.
Anyway, no, I think everybody can relate. If you're stuck at home, you can relate.
Yes.
So thank you all. I really appreciate it. And as Chris said, email us. Soon is good, because these decisions are being made. We'll make sure that Conferences Professional Council and Lisa and Grazia all get everything that you're saying in any email you send to us.
Yes, many thanks, everyone.
So I think we've got no further questions, where we can probably say thank you and goodbye to everyone.
Yes, goodbye. Thank you, everyone.